What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, guys, I'm doing a follow-up video today, and I am in my second year switchgrass. This nice big cluster of switchgrass you see behind me that is 3 feet and change tall is my second year switchgrass. I'm gonna go over and show you my first year that I planted, frost seeded, and how that's coming along. But this, you might have seen in an earlier video of mine where I used the black BOAR chisel plow and the black BOAR HARROW implement and tracked up this whole area here and planted this. If you'd like to see that, I could also put a link somewhere in this region here. And this is what that looks like. Although I didn't get great growth on all 100% of what I tilled up and planted, I'd say about 50% of it this year in the second year is really coming in, and I'm super happy with what I'm seeing. And to be honest, if I had to choose 50% that would grow and not grow, it would be the 50% I got. So I'm pretty excited. It's the section that's closer to my woods, more that what I want to screen off as I get closer to that access point to my woods behind the camera here on my property on the ranch here. All right, so let me take you in and take a nice little closer look at some of this switchgrass in its second year that's growing. All right, so here's the start of all that switchgrass. Now, I left this whole section unmowed because I wanted to show you where I'm at and the density of it. So you could see I got some good growth in clusters, and as I come down and pan up, you could see it's nice and tall. It's 3 feet and change. As I step over, it looks like nothing's grown here, but that's because I mowed this about 30 days ago. And I felt that this area didn't even need to be mowed, so I did not mow this section. The reason why I mowed is mowing helps with the weed control. So by mowing and cutting it down this time of year, the switchgrass grows exponentially faster than, say, like these weeds. So by mowing it, or like what I just did, cut it here, this weed's not going to grow back fast enough to outcompete this switchgrass, which means that the switchgrass won't get shaded out and die, and now will actually beat out that weed and shade out the weed, which then will die. The reason why that doesn't just happen automatically is because in the early part of summer, the weeds grow faster than the switchgrass. So the switchgrass starts too far behind everything and dies out. So now, when you come in and mow and take like this weed that's, look, taller than my switchgrass out of the equation, you're putting more sun and nutrients on the switchgrass. And in the later summer, switchgrass takes over and dominates and takes over, and it'll choke out the weeds. And that's what you want to do. And by mowing, you literally do that. You cut all the weeds down to the same height as the switchgrass, but now the switchgrass is growing exponentially faster, and it'll outshade the weeds and choke them out as opposed to the reverse. So this is my year 2 clump of switchgrass. Really, really excited. And it starts to dwindle down. You can see some of the like Shasta daisies, white daisies in here. Those are all weeds. And it's just, the growth got worse as I got down this way for some reason. I think it was too wet. It was really like a pool in here right after I seeded. I think that had something to do with it, but I mowed. I'm seeing a lot more pop up now in the second year. And I mean, you could just see how nice this whole stand is. And you could see my woods behind it. And this is gonna be nice and thick and tall. Help me get past the food plot that's way over that way and get into my woods. All right, guys, here we are in my year 1 switchgrass planting. You saw me frost seed that. You saw me prep the ground for this. You saw me go through all the right steps. And here we are in July, on the 15th of July. And you're probably like, well, that doesn't look good. Well, I actually think it looks pretty okay. And I'm not a professional by any means. I'm into the process. I'm a super enthusiast with all this stuff, with land management habitat. This is me doing me. And I'm going to show you that there is actually a lot more switchgrass than maybe you're seeing in that camera from that angle. It looks like a brown field, I know, is what you're saying. He's lying. I'm not. And I'm gonna bring you in close to take a look at what's happening here on the ground. All right, so let's dive in. All right, so now we're here on the ground, and you can see as I shake the camera like crazily, but you can see all these red bases, all this everywhere. Well, not this, this is mare's tail, that's a terrible weed, but all this, all these are switchgrass, all coming in. And this looks brown and dead to you, but that's because it's super weed controlled, which was all that spraying we did, all that prep you saw me do on this. This is what makes switchgrass so tedious and tough to put in. But when you get this coming in and springing up and being this red-based, beautiful bedding and seclusion and screening, it's worth all this crazy process. And now I'm going to be able to access to the far corner of my property with this field here and the woods being back there with a nice screening wall here to get me to the corner of my property without anything in the woods busting me coming across the face of my property. Yes, this is year one and I'm looking at 4 to 5 inch tall switchgrass, but next year we're looking at 5 feet tall switchgrass. And the year after that, finally this CaveNRock stuff is going to be giant. So this is where we're at. Tons of switchgrass coming in, and you can see. This is my follow-up on the year one switchgrass I planted. All right, ranchers, thanks for sticking in. Thanks for seeing how this all comes together. This is the year one section. I hope you can see how year two looks infinitely better than year one, and even a little mowing for weed control is not the end of the world, it seems. I'm super excited, and thanks for watching along. See you on the next little adventure here at Fig and Clover.